work on the strength first, work on that maximal force production, and then we focus on speed. And that's what we're going to do tonight. So how do we improve power through speed? Well, a common term that gets thrown around a lot is plyometrics, right? So that ballistic kind of quick response off the ground, quick action type moves. I know it's interesting to say, but this is where the misconception is for a lot of people training for golf. If you are working on cardio, getting on a bike, getting on a treadmill, and you're going for 30, 45 minutes, and you haven't done anything else, strength or speed work, you're really missing the boat on what actually happens in golf. Now, you need, if you're going to walk 18, you need some sort of endurance and cardiovascular output for sure. But that's not what the typical individual is lacking. The typical individual is lacking strength, and then they're definitely lacking the ability to produce strength quick. So even things like, I know one of the advisory members at Titleist Performance Institute, they actually say, you know, what they'll start with in terms of how to improve speed is just plain old sprinting, right? So taking a 40-yard dash, 30-yard dash, 50 meter and saying, get good at doing it as quickly as you can, even if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s. So obviously we have to be safe. We have to screen people and make sure they're ready for things like that. But it gives you an idea of the goal is to move as fast as possible for a short period of time. That's what the golf swing is. So you walk to your next shot, 5 minutes, whatever, and then it's maximal force production, and then you get around the green and maybe it's not maximal anymore. But those first couple shots on most holes, it's explosive, quick force production, okay? So we want our body to get used to that. We want our central nervous system to get used to that. So first thing is explosive use of the legs. And this is where, you know, you can basically look at 2, 3, and 4, and they're great. We're going to go over them. But most of us, if all we did was number 1 here, we would be, again, so far ahead of what other people are working on. And this is just the foundation. Golf swing starts from the ground, how we use our legs, how we interact with the ground. If you can't do that, you're kind of missing the boat on a lot of other things. And so this is almost the prerequisite when I start working on speed with our golfers. So we'll go into some examples here in a second, but jumping, you can add some jumping in terms of going straight up and down. You can add jumping in terms of going side to side. You can add jumping and leaving the ground in terms of rotation. Sprinting we talked about. Triple extension drills is anything where you go from, you know, a squat pattern or multiple joints are flexed and then you go to standing up. All of those things are really good in terms of teaching you how to use the ground. In terms of rotational, we do a lot of med ball work, medicine ball. So, you know, one of the best things to do is take a lighter medicine ball, you know, 4 or 6 pounds, depending on body size, maybe we'll work up to 8 or 10. And you are just different variations we'll go over again here in a bit, but you're just seeing how quickly can you get that ball out of your hands in a rotational fashion? How far can you, you know, throw the ball? How much force can you produce into the wall rotationally? And with a lot of the rotation stuff, as we talk about with med ball and with the speed sticks in a second, you want to be working both directions, okay? And I'll get into why they talk about that in a second here. Upper body plyometrics, yes, just because it's arms and hands doesn't mean that you can't do plyometrics as well. So very, very straightforward. We kind of try to take our push and our pull examples, and we add some speed to them. And there's very easy ways to do that to try to get the upper body going. I think I talked in the strength section about the bench press, right? So the pressing movement in any capacity is a very, very big predictor for club head speed in terms of the upper body. So we want to at least be doing something ballistic and rapid, you know, quick action wise with the upper body. And then specific speed training. So not a lot of stuff that I've done has really looked like the golf swing, but from a speed standpoint, it would behoove us to actually work on swinging faster. There's a lot of skepticism, and again, the golf gurus, swing instructors and everything, you get into the idea of club head speed, and people, there's a little bit of a misconception with it. So when we work on speed training, and we're looking at people pump out 125 miles per hour, 130 miles per hour, which are big numbers on club head speed. But they're not doing it with the necessary intent that when they actually get driver in their hand in a tournament situation, they're going to swing as hard as they can for 130, right? but what it does is it makes their cruising speed automatically a little bit higher. So if you get really good at swinging with intent and with purpose as hard as you can in a training situation, then when you actually go to the course, your normal, comfortable, not swinging out of my shoes, balanced swing, all of that stuff, as long as you're using the ground, you're automatically, your new cruising speed is going to be higher. So you're still not swinging out of your shoes, and you're still not coming out of balance, and you're still not changing a lot of things in terms of the mechanics or the technique. But now that club head speed is automatically higher because you've raised your normal cruising speed. So that's where the specific speed training principles, you can kind of kill some of those misconceptions of those myths that we're trying to train as fast as we can because when we get to the tee box, we're going to swing as hard as we can. That's not exactly what the point of it is. Now, if you watched Bryson last weekend, he maybe missed the memo on that and still somehow stayed on plane, stayed accurate, and was hitting 340 plus. So some of us that have good hand-eye coordination, we can do both. We can swing out of our shoes and be strong enough to handle it and still keep our timing right. But that's why he's on PGA Tour and most of us are not.